All right, this is the copyright disclaimer. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Nigeria.
Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, Nigeria aligns itself with the statement delivered by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, on behalf of the African Group and for his leadership in the discourse on this important issue, and in our national capacity underscore the historic importance of this event. We join the global community in the spirit of profound solemnity to honor the memory of the millions of African men, women, children who were victims of the transatlantic slave trade. This was not merely a dark chapter in history, it was a 400-year crime against humanity that fundamentally altered the trajectory of the African continent and the modern world. For Nigeria, this remembrance is personal. The shores from which our ancestors were taken are not merely geographical or geographic markers, they are sacred sites of memory, resilience, and unfinished justice. Confronting history requires history. The transatlantic slave trade was a systemic engine of exploitation to foil the industrial and economic rise of distant shores. Nigeria therefore maintains that true justice begins with a global curriculum that accurately reflects this history, ensuring that the roots of systemic racism and prejudices are identified and dismantled at their sources. Mr. President, advancing dignity is at the heart of our collective responsibility. As we navigate the international decade for people of African descent, we must recognize that the broken bones of slavery have manifested in modern society in systemic marginalization and racial profiling. Therefore, combating modern slavery is essential by eradicating contemporary forms of servitude, including human trafficking, which continue to stain our global conscience. Nigeria stands in solidarity with the people of African descent and calls on all member states to support the resolution to be tabled today. Supporting and voting in favor of this resolution is a roll call of conscience reflecting where member states stand in confronting racism and advancing the reconciliation of historical injustices. Mr. President, in conclusion, we should not let this day end in reflection alone, but it should mark a renewed resolve, a collective commitment to transform memory into action, injustice into equity, and pain into purpose. In doing so, we affirm not only the dignity of those who were lost, but the promise of those who carry their legacy forward. I thank you.
A recorded vote has been requested. We shall now begin the voting process. Those in favor of the draft resolution A/80/L48, please signify. Those against and those in abstention.
The Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/80/L48 entitled Declaration of the Trafficking of Enslaved Africans and Racialized Chattel Enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. Will all delegations confirm that their votes are accurately reflected on the screen? The voting has been completed. please lock the machine.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 123. Against, 3. Abstentions, 52. Therefore, draft resolution A/80/L48 is adopted.
And that's why we're a villain, right? Because the UN General Assembly has adopted a draft resolution that unequivocally condemns the trafficking of enslaved Africans and the transatlantic slave trade as the most inhumane and enduring injustice against humanity. 123 nations voted to agree with that statement, but 3 said, nah, we don't agree. The United States of America, Israel, and Argentina. 52 is abstained. So I checked, and the 52 that abstained, the vast majority are in Europe. European nations is abstained. So that means that the vast majority that agree in that are not European nations. They're from the Americas, from the Far East, the Near East, and the Middle East, right? The 52. The rest of the statement goes on to say the resolution also seeks to recognize the profound and lasting impacts of the abhorrent regimes of slavery and colonialism, and emphasizes that claims for reparations represent a concrete step towards remedying historical wrongs against Africans and people of African descent. It's a very basic statement. In 2026, imagine in 2026, with all the history that everybody knows now, that 52 nations said, we want no part of it. We're not going to say anything. And 3 nations, the United States, Israel, and Argentina, said, we are against this. Against it. We are firmly on the side of no. We do not agree with that statement. These nations, those 3, well, let me address the 52 first. The 52 European all benefited from the transatlantic slave trade. Goods, textiles, the production of things by free labor all made its way throughout the Western world in all the industries, not just manufacturing and finance, but in shipping and publishing and universities and everything. They all benefited from it. And those 52, the vast majority are from Europe. And these 3 right here, it's a disgrace.
All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone. And we're here to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the 4 corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, we got this article here from the BBC. It is titled, UN Votes to Recognize Enslavement of Africans, which is really the Israelites, as the gravest crime against humanity. All right. Like I said, it comes from the BBC. We'll put a link to this article in the description box. What we're going to do is go through it and, going to put some scriptures to it. All right. So starting off, it says, the United Nations General Assembly has voted to recognize the enslavement of Africans during the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. Move advocates hope will pave the way for healing and justice. All right, we know that's not going to happen, according to someone want to grab Deuteronomy 28:68. God.
This book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 68. It says, Salak. Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 68. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, thy power, shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships."
God, and Egypt, you know, when you go into Exodus, it tells you it means the house of bondage, okay? With ships. We know when we left out of Egypt in the original Egyptian captivity, you know, no ships were needed. We walked, okay? Go ahead.
It says, "By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again."
And that's, we won't see the land again. All right, you got a lot, now, there's still some jakes over there, okay? But for the, you know, for the purpose of this curse, the whole nation was kicked out of the land, okay? Jake is still over there, you know, in that area and around it. But we do not have ownership of the land that was promised to Abraham and Isaac, okay? Jacob does not have that land right now, you know? Go ahead.
It says, "And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen."
Yep, and sold, you know, as bondmen and bondwomen. That's slavery. Now, we know another translation said you're going to sell yourselves. That's some bullshit. You know, who sells themselves into slavery? You know, who profits from that? You know, that's
Right.
and that's the dumbest shit ever. All right, go ahead.
It says, "And no man shall buy you."
And no man shall buy you. And that word buy goes into the Hebrew word of kanah, which means to redeem. Okay? And it says no man, it wasn't Malcolm X, it wasn't Martin Luther King Jr., you know, no one who was in power was able to get us out of this. You know, I talk about it all the time in those curses. You know, from verses 15 through 68, the word shall or shout appears 113 times. Okay? That's a little bit more than twice per each scripture. Okay? And that word means inevitable. It is going to happen. It must happen. Ain't no way around it. You know, the Lord said none can deliver out of his hand. And we're his people. So this did happen. Okay? He said, no man shall redeem you. Okay, if you go to Isaiah 47, I think it's verses 3 and 4. It talks about who the Redeemer is. If somebody can grab that.
Yep. It's Isaiah 47 and 3. It says, "Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Yep,
yea,
that's talking about the sins of Esau, Edom.
Thy shame shall be seen.
Mm-hmm.
I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man."
Time. And that's the Lord coming back in his angelic power, which they know is going to happen. That's what those chariots of Israel are, what they call the UFOs or the UAPs, okay?
It says, "As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel."
Time. That's that, and that's Yahweh Shai, okay? He's the Redeemer. He said, I will not, that scripture that curse said, no man shall buy you, that was talking about any ordinary man, okay? And he's saying, I will not meet thee as a man. That's that angelic power that he's coming in, okay? So we have to wait upon him, all right? Okay, back to the article, unless somebody else got something, okay? Back to the article. The resolution proposed by Ghana called for this designation, while also urging UN members to consider apologizing for the slave trade and contributing to a reparations fund. Okay, it does not mention a specific amount of money, and we know that we just read. You know, no man shall redeem you. Okay, there is not going to be any reparations. Okay. And see, obviously, you know, at the time this happened, which was just recent, he hadn't seen the study. Okay, reparations was put in place. That was that 40 acres and a mule. I think it was also called the Field 40 Act. Okay, as of 2015, that 40 acres and a mule would have been worth $6.8 trillion for each family that received it. They're not going to let that happen. They're not going to pay us that type of money, even when we rejected it and started our own stuff and started to flourish. They killed that. All right. Go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh Shai, thy power, will put all his curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." All right, which is going into chiefly Esau, Edom, which is the so-called white men and all these other heathen nations outside the nation of Israel, all right, they're gonna be, experiencing, the slavery and oppression that we had to go through, which is actually going to be the real reparations for the nation of Israel, man. Because these nations talk about, they want to set up reparations for Jake and all that. Well, just wait and see, man. None of those plans are going to go through, man. Nope. Because just like how it says in Psalms 83, all these other nations outside the nation of Israel, they're all confederate with each other, man. To plot against the nation of Israel. So and their whole goal is to keep our people, oppressed and away from our power, man.
And that was spoken of, I think, in Lamentations 2. All that passed by on the clap their hands, they rejoice in seeing us go down. All right, you saw that also in Baruch, the end of Baruch 4. All right. Okay, back to the article. Anybody else got anything?
Not at the moment. I mean, I look at it. So go ahead.
Okay, it says the proposal was adopted with 123 votes in favor and 3 against, and those 3 were the United States is not real, let's call them that, and Argentina. All right, now that's because they had a huge hand in it. Okay, and right here, the United States, when you Jake, they keep believing that this country is going to do right by us. You're still going out to vote, you protesting and all that stuff. This right here, if it don't make it clear that they're not going to do anything to reverse what they did to us, I don't know what else to tell you. You're delusional. Okay? You got that, what's that syndrome called?
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome, yeah. You got a serious problem. And this right here is the nail in the coffin to anything that you thought was going to happen that was going to lead to any form of reparations. Okay? And then you got Israel.
Yeah, precept. You said you had a precept?
No, I've done on mine. Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me finish this.
All right.
Yeah, you got Israel. That's the Amalekites. It's more than proven that not only did they finance the transatlantic slave trade, they own the ships and the insurance companies. Okay? And Argentina right now is run by the same people who did that. All right?
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 11.
Yes, sir.
And verse 12. It says, Yea, all Israel has transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him. Verse 12. And he have confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem.
Boom. The Bible told you that was the greatest atrocity that happened. So this thing here is just confirming it. Okay. What did he say? Somebody grab Isaiah 42 and 9 about Kushab.
Isaiah 42 and 9.
Yeah.
Got it.
You started at 8 too.
This is Isaiah 42 and 8. It says, I am the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. It says, Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them.
Come. All right, so that's the whole thing right there. He told us what he's going to do to us. Okay. Daniel 9 verse 12 just told you in writing, that nothing has happened in any other nation than it has happened to you, that has happened to us. Okay. And then here it is. I don't know how many years later, this UN resolution is telling you exactly that. Okay? It's been revealed, and you got to remember. First, it was said by the prophets, even though this was a heathen nation. You know, it said in this time that the Lord would pour out His Spirit among all people. Okay, everybody gonna be saying something that's gonna confirm the truth that we've been preaching on these highways and byways, beginning with the elder apostles on down. Okay.
Yeah, something.
No.
All right, Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Yeah. So just backing up the brother, because he said that he confirmed his words.
Yep.
You know, and these things that happened unto Israel. So all these curses, he's going to confirm these words as well. All the curses, or we're starting to see, falling upon the so-called white man for many of the things that they've done. Ultimately, it's going to lead up to his death, because there's one that said, there's a scripture that said, if he that stealeth the man and he be found in his hand, right?
Exodus 21:16. Yeah.
Yep.
You want to grab that?
Yeah, let the Most High word speak.
This Exodus chapter 21 and verse 16, it says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
Yeah, he said he that stealeth a man, and selleth him, and he found his hand, he should surely be put to death. That's exactly what the United States and Israel did.
We're gonna bring this scripture out real quick.
That's exactly what they did with the transatlantic slave trade, and you documented that stuff too.
Yeah. Any brother can speak on it.
Yep. This is the book of Joel 3:3. It says, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and have sold a girl for wine, that they might drink.
Yep. So just to confirm, keep reading.
Yep. It says, yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head.
Yeah. So you had the Hamitic tribes involved, and they say even some of our own people had got involved. But I want to see where he said he had sold them to the Grecians.
Yep. That's in verse 6. I'll just read 5 into 6. It says, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
They did that physically, but then as far as like taking, what's the one I thought about, the siege of Jerusalem, 70 AD was an example, of going in and taking silver and gold, but then the man is going to be likened unto fine gold.
Yeah.
We're likened unto treasures unto the Lord.
Yeah.
So you've taken us as well.
Jewels, yeah.
Yep. That.
Yep. Verse 6, it says, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them from their border.
Yep. And this was all by the hand of the Yahweh Bashemel Shai, because he prophesied it, or he told us before that these things were going to happen, and so he made his word good.
Yep. You just read that in Daniel 9.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
He confirmed those words.
Yep.
Is there,
I got verse 4, Jeremiah 17:4 real quick.
Yeah.
It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So, I brought this up to back out the point that we're reading in Joel. All right? It says, well, hey, the Lord said that shall discontinue from thy heritage. All right, what does that mean? All right, first of all, that means that we lost the name of the Lord, man, which is most important. All right, but along with that, we lost our customs, our ways of life, and how we used to be as a people, man. All right, why? Because we kindled a fire in the Lord's anger. All right, because what? We were serving other gods, man.
Yep.
All right, and we understand that the Lord is a jealous power, man. All right, so in doing that, guess what? We pissed the Lord off, man.
Yep.
All right, so he sold us into the hands of our enemies, man. All right. The Grecians, like we just read about, man. All right, and all throughout history, man. When we was in captivity, man. All right, but ultimately in today's time, we're in Esau's hands, man. All right, and here in America, man.
Yep.
All right.
And that's what you just read. That's literally how we became Gentiles ourselves. Okay. It's the Ephesians 2:11 and 12 proves that we were estranged from the Commonwealth of Israel. Okay. Once we fell away, and that we see I would discontinue you from your heritage. What's that? That First Thessalonians, first there should be a falling away first. Yeah, we fell away from our heritage, lost who we were. Okay. Now Ezekiel 37 is in full effect. You can't tell the Lord's elect men nothing. We not bending on nothing when it comes to this truth.
Let me read out something real quick.
I say that humbly. Let me say
This
that.
last verse,
Okay,
Joel.
Salaki.
This is the last one.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, this Joel 3:7. It says, "Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head."
Ezekiel 37.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
That's exactly what we was going into earlier in Isaiah 47 as well.
Yep.
All right, about the Lord being our Redeemer, man. All right, He says He's gonna raise them out of the place where you have sold them and return your recompense unto your own head. All right, so Esau, Edom, you're gonna be dealt with, man.
Which goes to prove the people who saying that they the chosen people are not. Because where they being raised from, in the places that they were scattered, they can't be them because they already there. All right.
Yep. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 8. He says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, says which also is where also our Lord was crucified." So of course, we were here, and as we said, we lost our heritage, we lost the knowledge of who we are, and that's what made us dead, not having the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shah, his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and Sodom and Egypt. We know that Babylon, also known as America, is likened unto Sodom for the lewd acts, and then of course Egypt for the harsh bondage. He says, and they, verse 9, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. So just to show that we would be working under these conditions, we would be, we're enslaved and afflicted, all right, roughly 300, well, from the time, it's like 350 years, and coming in here into slavery, being in complete bondage, and then at some point, going into late to early 70s, Spirit came unto, was it Abba Bivens, right, and being taught. So fast forwarding into where we are today, that now jumping down to verse 11, it says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them that saw them. So they understand that the men of the Lord are on the streets teaching, that the elect are awakening in the knowledge, and like Elder Yashawamba, he had made a mention in his News and Prophecy about this, about the same thing, is that they're more likely only doing it because they thinking if they can appease the Lord by saying that this was a harsh thing, that they could actually it would help them for their next enterprise that they're about to go into. It's kind of like getting forgiveness.
That ain't gonna happen. I got precept too. Huh?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Just to back you up, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 16. It says, "The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead." Goes back to those dead bodies, that were on the street. Because we lost our heritage. And you notice when he read Jeremiah, he said, "Thou, even thou." So even, the people that, the Lord had chosen to preach his word, okay, they were discontinued from the heritage. You read in Daniel 9, even the judges got it.
Yeah.
That's because when you go all the way back, we're talking about this at our Bible study at Mount Horeb, we all agreed to the covenant. Okay, we all agreed to the covenant, and what that means is, hey, we all felt like in the case of Achan, Joshua 7. That's when the first time Israel got fucked up going to war. He said, don't do this as you get ready to go into this land. Achan stole those things. Israel got fucked up, but he eventually paid for it. But that's what the Lord does. That goes to prove what he says in Job 34 and 29 about he has his right to judge a man or a nation. In this case, he judged the whole nation, just like he's going to do with Esau Edom. Okay, the whole nation is going. All right. So yeah, I just want to back you up on that congregation that we did.
And just to land back on the point you made, Yahweh Shemashai is going to judge, Edom as a nation. This is Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 22. It says, "The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins." All right, and that's in Edom going into the so-called white man, which who has the nation of Israel, which is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in captivity till this day. Yahweh Shemashai is discovering literally everything. All right, from the hardcore slavery all the way to the deception, man. The mass the deception that he tries to do today, man. All that's Yahweh Shemashai knows has Esau Edom's whole rap sheet, man.
Yep.
Well, this is where when he said being discovered, the Lord is using the prophets, and he's been revealing the secrets, understanding the scriptures, how to put it together with what's going on in the earth and who the wicked is. And so things are being discovered, like Epstein, the Lord is showing these things have to come to show why he's going to be destroyed.
Yep.
This, the slavery, they're apologizing for it now, and it's nationwide. So pretty much they agreed. And the reason why the three, like you mentioned, didn't agree, would just say United States and Israel, and of course Israel is running Argentina, is because they were the greatest benefactors, to the slavery. So this is another way of the other nations are actually showing that, kind of like stepping away aside to it, though they all had a hand and benefited from it too.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it goes into that. But while you're on those three nations,
I think he had more too.
Yeah, you remember that Israel, the people that's there today, they want the world to believe that hoax around World War II was the number one main crime against humanity, which we were talking about earlier. The 1939 census said there were only roughly around 3 million of them in Auschwitz, yet they claim to lose 6 million. What kind of damn math is that? And Esau don't get down like that. They don't have kids like that. That's why they got these things in place in these communities where they get so much money for having so many kids. You can't catch up alone by yourself. It's not going to happen. Okay, but you said that happened. There's no way you can have as many people as you have now, starting out with 3 million, losing 6 million. That's in the negative. You can't do it. That's impossible. So that also led to the reason why they probably voted no, because the whole world see that, hey, when even their own scholars are saying it didn't happen like they said it did. That's an issue. Okay, and they see that too. They know this transatlantic slave trade was true.
We'll get last few scriptures. We ended. I got one. Actually, I got two in mind. Somebody can grab that in Revelations with saints. He that leadeth.
Oh, Revelation.
Yep. This is Obadiah, verse 15. It says, For the day of the Lord is upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done. It shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. Um, so everything that you've done, and we're talking about slavery, you're going to go into slavery.
Yep.
Right. Somebody can grab that also in the Psalms. I think it's shield. I'll get it. But go ahead and grab your. Well, actually, let me get this 16. Salaki. It says, "For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all of the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they have not been." So eventually, it's gonna, all the heathens gonna receive their judgment, but ultimately Esau, is gonna receive the judgment because you were the biggest benefactor, of all of this, because the earth was given unto your hand. All right, you got it.
Yep, this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. It says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword."
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, that's right. Who led us into captivity, man? Esau, Edom.
Who was blessed with the sword?
Right. Who was blessed with the sword, man? Going back to
Genesis 27.
Going back to Genesis. The blessing he received from Isaac. It says he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All right, and that's the future for Esau, Edom, man. Is slavery, man. All right. Continual employment, man. All right. It says he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And just like how it says in Ezekiel 35, since thou hatest not blood shall pursue thee. So Esau Edom is gonna be getting jacked up in the kingdom, man. All right. It says he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Even on this side, when Yahushua returns with the host of angels, man. All right, Yahushua and the angels are gonna be put Edomites to death on the spot, man.
Yep.
It says here is the patience in the faith of the saints, man. All right, and patience goes into long suffering, and having faith and believing that Yahweh Shai is going to return to redeem his people out of captivity, man, and recompense Esau Edom, all right, for all of his wickedness that he's done, man. For the slavery and oppression that he's doing, to our people, man. Because Esau Edom always finds opportunity to overdo it, and this captivity is a perfect example of him, going way too overboard because of that perpetual hatred that he has, for Jacob, man.
Back to the article.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
Okay. It says
There's a few more. Then I'm gonna read this and we're gonna close it.
okay.
Yeah.
It says countries like the UK have long rejected calls to pay reparations, saying today's institutions cannot be responsible for past wrongs. Why we're still paying Israel, and we got nothing to do with it. Okay. It says unlike UN Security Council resolutions, those from General Assembly are not legally binding, though they carry the weight of global opinion. It says, let it be recorded that when history beckoned, we did what was right for the memory of the millions who suffered the indignity of the slave trade and those who continue to suffer racial discrimination, Ghana's President John Mahama told the Assembly ahead of the vote. He says, the adoption of this resolution serves as a safeguard against forgetting. It also challenges the enduring scars of slavery, he said. Earlier, this foreign minister Samuel Okudetzeto Ablakwa told the BBC's Newsday program, we are demanding compensation, and let us be clear, African leaders are not asking for money for themselves. We want justice for the victims and the causes to be supported, educational and endowment funds, skills training funds.
Yeah, we'll stop there. We have some time. Where we at on time?
11:22.
11 minutes?
No.
31.
31
Okay.
minutes. Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, let me get this here, and then anybody else got any last little statements?
Okay.
Because they can go into the articles
Yep,
a little bit more in
yep.
depth there. But this is the book of Psalms 149, verse 5. The point is in 7 or in 8. It says, "Let the saints, which are the Israelites, be joyful in glory. It says, let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let their high praises of the Most High be with in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand." And that's going to be physical sword, right? "To execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord." So the judgments that are written that the heathen and the other nations going to get, even 2/3, they're all written in the scriptures. And we know that the Lord is not a man that he should lie.
No.
And so he's going to make good on his word. So those things that you've done unto us is going to be done unto you. All right. Anybody got anything? Okay.
Yeah, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 25, beginning at verse 12, and it reads, "Thus saith Yahweh our power, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended and revenged himself upon them." Verse 13, "Therefore thus saith Yahweh our power, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and I will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Dan shall fall by the sword." Verse 14, "And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel." Okay, so you notice he first said in Judah, that was the southern kingdom, but he said by the hand of his people Israel. Okay, that's after, we have those new bodies, the covenant within ourselves, have gained immortality, and this is the ultimate fulfillment of was that Obadiah 18, where we've already come back together as one nation. The two nations shall become one. That's mentioned in Ezekiel 37 as well. Okay, so we all come back together. So he said, "And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel." Okay, "And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith Yahweh our power." So you got a hell of an ass whooping to look forward to, Esau, Edom, especially you Amalekites. Especially you Amalekites. You are the example, the epitome of arrogance and haughtiness and pride. Okay, and you about to be taken down. As this, what do you call that? In an epic fury. But this epic fury is coming from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right. Okay, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. Again, this article was pretty lengthy. We will put a link to this article in the description box, but we hit the point. Okay, with the article as well as the scriptures. You can read it at your own leisure. So with that, we hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, going to give all praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash.
Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say shalom. We say shalom.
Shalom.
All right. Abba, Abba.
Abba, Abba.
Kwam Yashua.
Kwam Yashua.